Hello, and welcome to TaliHanan. If you've experienced enmeshment, you may already know the weight of carrying your family's emotional needs. That's why, before anything else, we highly encourage all family members to seek licensed psychologists who do family therapy. Remember that one person shouldn't be responsible for changing an entire family system. It needs to have collective effort for a collective change. But we know that it may not always be feasible for everyone, and you may still need resources to help address its impacts. That's why, in this video, we'll share 3 tips on how to help build or maintain healthy boundaries. However, while these are reviewed by our college guidance counselors and a psychologist, these are only general tips to be used for information and self-reflection. Hence, it's always recommended to take advantage of professional resources available in your area. Now that that's covered, let's start with the first one: tips on developing healthy boundaries. These focus on things like self-awareness, emotional regulation, and accountability to help develop said boundaries and self-identity. But among all of these, all experts stated that one of these was the most important: recognition or becoming aware of the problem and one's willingness to change. Ideally, family members must be receptive and willing to have their pre-existing beliefs challenged in order to create change. Once that foundation is built, we can move on to the next steps. Number 1. Get to know yourself outside of the family. Identity evolves through life experiences and experimentation. In Erik Erikson's 8 stages of development, that experimentation is a part of the stage called identity crisis. It involves asking yourself questions like, what are you passionate about? Who do you want to be? What are your core beliefs? What are your strengths, and how can you work with your weaknesses? It may be helpful to reflect beyond your family role, as your needs, wants, or limits may be buried or forgotten under family interests. Number 2. Learning to process and regulate one's emotions. According to the cognitive behavioral theory cycle, it proposes that one's thoughts, feelings, and behaviors are connected with each other. Since these are 3 large concepts, let's just cover thoughts for now. And should you like to learn more, there's an expanded article over on our website. Okay, so for example, let's take the thought, I am a failure. According to Miss Tanya, rather than automatically identifying yourself with a thought, it can be helpful to take a pause and notice the automatic thoughts and emotions that pop up during an event. You could ask, why did I have this thought? Remember that many thoughts occur automatically without much effort. They are automatic ideas that occur as a reaction to an event. Since emotions come first before logic, these first thoughts are prone to heuristic bias, as our brains can anchor evidence on the initial piece of information and confirm our pre-existing beliefs. As such, it's important to bring counter-evidence when our thoughts go towards absolutes or extremes. This helps to combat messages that may drive one further into enmeshment. Number 3. Emotional accountability. Emotional accountability is when individuals are taught to take ownership of one's thoughts and feelings. One of the struggles in enmeshed families may include learning to take on the emotions of those around you due to internalizing the messages that were taught to you when you were younger. In the theory of psychological construction, it suggests that emotions are constructed from prior individual experiences, cultural context, and personal interpretation. So this means that people's individual emotions towards situations will vary because it's shaped by multiple factors in their life. Hence, you can't control another person's emotions because you can't completely inhabit their life. So the only thing you can be responsible for is how you respond to your own thoughts, feelings, and behaviors, and hopefully observe them objectively with compassion. However, please note that not every thought needs to be argued with or changed. Sometimes, you may just need to take a pause, observe the thought, and make room for your emotions. Once you notice them clearly, we may then introspect and choose an action that matches our values and boundaries, which mental health professionals can help you with if you struggle with that. Although, note that individuals with mental illness or trauma may have limited control over their responses, making trauma-informed care and tailored intervention a necessity for those struggling with them. So, once these three are in place, it may become easier to set boundaries and develop coping mechanisms for things outside of one's control. As discussed in a previous video, healthy boundaries exist when they are clear, protective, but also flexible to situations that help connect them to themselves and others. This can be best characterized in Charlotta's core message on maintaining personal boundaries. Clarity, flexibility, and consistency is key. In enmeshed dynamics, it's hard to tell where your needs end and where someone else's begin, especially since this interaction is used to cope with family hardship. This is where clear and direct communication becomes key. It allows you to clearly reinforce your needs and wants in reality by setting your own intentions for what you will and won't accept in a situation. This also creates a shared understanding of what you and your family can expect, even if they may disagree. You could start small, such as saying no to extra tasks that your siblings can do by themselves, or finding professional support for communicating challenging boundaries, like ones about your career of choice or gender expression. Remember, if your family does not understand your perspective, assume positive intent. It is rare that both parties will have exactly the same desires and expectations all the time. Sometimes, this may mean finding an acceptable compromise with them, or adjusting when there is a family crisis, or being open to changing your own ideas in light of new information. Setting healthy boundaries is not a one-hit wonder. They need to be consistently practiced like a skill. Sometimes we are unable to, but it doesn't mean we can't pick it up again. Over time, these help develop your ability to assertively communicate and sustainably maintain one's personal boundaries without sacrificing connection. So, you've now learned the basics on how to develop and set healthy boundaries through self-awareness, emotional regulation, and emotional accountability. If you have any questions, thoughts, or suggestions on the video, let us know down in the comments. We're also available on Facebook, Instagram, and our email at talihanan@gmail.com.